Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast. This is Hornets Nest. I'm here with
Nick.
Aiden.
today we're going to be interviewing a pilot to ask a couple questions about career choice and what we should look into and facts we should know about it. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I just wanted to ask you if you were still good for today for the call. Our school call that we had talked about on Thursday. Yeah, if that's okay with you. All right, sounds good. So I just wanted to prepare you about just so you would know that we were going to call you and how this is a podcast, just so you would be aware of it. Yeah. We can start right now if that's okay with you. All right.
Hello,
So
sir. I'm Nick.
I'm Aiden.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm
Good,
John
you?
Martin.
I'm doing good.
Doing
You?
well. Doing well.
Good.
So the first question we have for you today is how did you get started in becoming a pilot?
Ooh, that's a good question. I actually got started in aviation at a fairly young age. I knew I was interested in being a pilot and learning to fly when I was 12, and I actually got into building and flying remote controlled airplanes. And that kind of evolved into aviation lifestyle. I went on from there, realized I needed a job to support that hobby, and then I went back to the local airport, started working there online, pumping gas, cutting the grass, whatever I could do to make a buck. And then when I was 15, turning 16, I started flight training. And got my private pilot certificate, got my instrument rating, my commercial rating, got my certified flight instructor rating through high school, and through college. And but really, what got me started was just an individual interest in aviation.
Okay, that's cool. We were also wondering how you got your hours.
So a big part of obtaining your different ratings, you need to have so many hours. So for your private, most of your hours are obtained through one-on-one flight instruction with your flight instructor, and then solo hours by yourself. So you get to your first solo, and once you get past that and start working on navigation, you'll go on to do dual cross countries with your instructor, and then you'll also go through and do some solo cross countries, which is a requirement for your private pilot. After you get your private pilot and your instrument rating, you got to build time, and depending on what you do, there most of the time you rent aircraft, but for after you get your advanced ratings, you can go on and get your certified flight instructor, and that's really where I picked up most of my hours, is through flight instruction, being a flight instructor.
Okay, and then is there a way to sign up for getting your hours? How would you get into that, if that makes sense?
So there's really no way to sign up just to get hours. You've got to get your ratings. Once you get your ratings, then you can apply to be a flight instructor. Other ways to get rating or to get hours is banner towing. You could apply to be a banner pilot, and depending upon your experience and the different type of aircraft, they could hire you to do that. But primarily, most people to get hours for like airline jobs, they're going through and doing the flight instructor route.
Okay, and then was there like how do I put this? Was there like type of schooling you did like exactly? Like if that makes sense. What I just
Say that again.
said. Like did you like what kind of school did you go to for it? And like how was your experience like in
Yeah,
that school?
so there's two different flight schools. There's Part 61, Part 141. Um, I always went through a Part 61 environment. So that was local airport, New Garden Flying Field is where I got my private. And I went to Penn State University, and near Penn State there was another local airport called Belfont Airport. And they had a flight school there, so I went through them. Other ways is to go through an accredited program, which is a 141 program. Both ways are good. It all depends on what you have available to you. Part 61 schools, you pay as you go. Part 141 schools, you typically, plunk down a set of money and then, use that as like a tuition, if you will.
Okay.
What do you think was the greatest moment of your career?
The greatest moment of my career. Well, so I'm the aviation director for New Garden Flying Field. So I manage New Garden Airport for the township. The township owns the airport. But I oversee the airport operations, the flight school, and the maintenance shop. But we also established in 2009 what's called the Future Aviators program. And that's a youth aviation exposure program where we expose kids to all aspects of aviation every summer here at the airport. And we give them an opportunity to get up in an airplane and get their first initial flight hour. And that program has evolved since 2009. We see close to 300 kids through the summer as part of this program. So that to me, I mean, that's pretty cool. But I'm also into airplane restoring, and I've restored a couple of airplanes and flew them out to Oshkosh and landing out at Oshkosh, which is the world's largest air show, where they get about 600,000 people and 10,000 airplanes within a week's time. That's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
That sounds spectacular.
In your opinion, do you think it's better to be a private pilot or a commercial pilot?
Well, everybody's has to get their PPL, which is your private pilot's license. Everybody has to get that before they get their commercial.
Okay.
So the way that the ratings go is you start with your private pilot, then you get your instrument. So your private pilot allows you to fly a single engine airplane. Your instrument rating is the next step, and that allows you to fly that same airplane in the clouds. So you can fly it in inclement weather. Once you get your instrument rating, you can go on and get your commercial rating, all right, which now you can get paid to fly, because up to that point you can't get paid to fly. But once you get your commercial rating, then you can go on and be a banner pilot. But once you get enough hours, you can go after your CFI, your certified flight instructor, and then you can get paid to fly by teaching other people to fly.
Yeah.
And then once you have those hours, then you can go on and apply for different flying jobs, like being a corporate pilot or a commercial pilot.
Yeah, I guess what I meant by that, and specify myself correctly, is like what I meant by that is like flying private planes, such as like private jets, stuff like that, or like doing like
Or an airline?
Yeah, or like international flights.
Yeah, it's all a matter of preference. I think there's a lot of great opportunities in aviation today across the board, not just pilot jobs, but mechanics jobs, management jobs. But pilot jobs, if it's an airline job or a corporate job, it all depends. I mean, I'm good friends with people that are airline pilots, people that are corporate pilots. They all love their job, and they all have different perks, if you will. But it's a great industry to get in, and the airline industry gives you a little bit more routine in your scheduling of work, where corporate pilots are more got to go when called type of thing. But now there are corporate jobs out there that do have routine scheduling. So you may be on 7 off, 7 off, 7 on, 7 off, where you're working for 7 days and then off for 7 days. Airline pilots can be more on work 4 days and then they're off for 4 days.
Yeah, another question I have with that is what else is something that like comes with being a pilot other than just getting in the plane and flying? What is something else that like you have to do?
Well, you got to be healthy, number one. You got to be able to get a medical certificate, and that requires good eyesight, good physical fitness. You obviously your pilot requirements, but then also you got to be able to read, speak, write, and understand the English language. That's rule number 1 in the FARs, and you got to be a good moral character. So overall good person.
Okay.
Oh, all right. What's the best part of being a pilot, in your opinion? Like, just in general.
The freedom.
The freedom.
The freedom. Be able to go where you want to go when you want to go there.
Nice. How about the views? Like, are the views really good as a pilot?
The views are incredible. Being able to be up there. It's not only a sense of freedom, but it's also a sense of quiet. Your cell phone's not ringing off the hook every minute, and it's just it's peaceful.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Can be a lot of work, but other than that, it's pretty special. Being able to watch the sunrise and sunset and see it all from the air is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. What's the longest flight you've ever taken?
Well, we go out to Oshkosh, Wisconsin every year. So I'm not an airline pilot. I fly privately. And so really, we go down to Florida, we go out to Wisconsin, and that's probably the longest flights that I do personally.
Okay. And then have you ever flown like cargo planes or anything? And like what's your opinion on them?
No, I haven't flown cargo, but we do have a youngster here at the airport that just got hired by Atlas, who is a cargo pilot. And he's flying a 747, and he's 25 years old.
Oh, okay. And then hold up, give me a second.
What is one thing about being a pilot that most people don't know?
One thing about being a pilot that most people don't know. I think that people look at pilots and in a different light, if you will. I mean, there is a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of dedication that you got to do to be able to, get a career in the airlines or career privately or career even just, with airports. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. But certainly you gotta put your time in.
And what's the scariest moment you've ever been in while flying?
Well, I mean, again, I've been around aviation for a long time, and I've seen many aspects, all sides of aviation, from the maintainer side to the piloting side to the airport operator side. So I've seen some accidents that aren't very pleasant. But just with anything, I mean, aviation's very safe, but it's unforgiving. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you gotta be on your game 100% of the time, and when things go wrong, they can go really wrong real fast.
Have you ever had a situation where everything just like went bad? Like a Mayday type of situation?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we all are in our lives go through situations that are emergencies, and aviation doesn't is not independent of that. So we're all in situations that could have escalated into a worse situation, but that's what we train for. That's what you study for. That's what you train for. And when things like that happen, you react based on your training. So that's why there's biennial flight reviews required by pilots. And when we do that, we go up and we plan and we prepare for situations that could be a real day ruiner, but it's a non-event because we do our best to prepare for everything.
Okay.
Another question I have for you is, what should a beginner pilot that's just starting to work as a pilot be expecting to make?
So if you can go on to the different airlines and see what first officer, like you'll start out as an airline pilot, you'll go into be a first officer, and then you'll go to be a captain. So you can do your research and look at there. But I think the regional airlines now, everything just changed a little bit, but it's an easy 6-figure job now to start out.
Okay, and then our last question is, how long did the schooling take?
Well, again, the schooling can take, you can go to schools where all you do is focus on flying, or you can do it over time. So it all depends how you do it. You can get your pilot's license in, probably your private pilot's license in short of like 6 months, or it could take 6 years. It all depends how often you fly, how often you take lessons.
Okay, and then which route would you say was the best? Like, if you were to do it, like, would it be like just the flying or the stuff or the?
Well, I think if you can focus 100% of your time and focus on learning to fly, that's probably the best way to do it. But the reality for most people is that's not always an option, right? Because they have families, they have jobs, they have life that certainly has to happen and get in the way. So if it's all on the individual, like if you're a high school student looking to become a pilot, I would say, possibly getting involved with a local airport during your high school years to get your private pilot's rating. And once you have your private pilot's rating, if you then go on to apply for different colleges, look at some of the universities that offer aviation, and then you can focus most of your time when you're in school just on getting those more advanced ratings. And that's always, in my opinion, the best way to do it. When you can take yourself out of this current day-to-day life situation that you're here at home and just focus 100% of the time without any distractions on the goal, and that's getting your different ratings, that's always the best way to do it. Now, there is a cost associated with that. I mean, there's a lot of expense when it comes to going to an aviation university, but there's an expense to learning to fly in general. It's just schools like that, they charge more, but you're also flying more. So it's one of those things.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem, guys. Good luck.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.